For years, enterprise leaders have been told that artificial intelligence would transform the way their organizations work. But many CIOs and CTOs are now asking, how do we move beyond reactive chatbots and assistants to intelligent agents with enterprise reliability? In this webinar, you'll learn how mature AI adopters are shifting toward platform-based approaches that provide data security, contextualization, centralized control, and the ability to operationalize AI for scale. Hello, and welcome to this video webcast titled From Chat to Agents, Operationalizing AI at Scale, sponsored by Glean at CIO.com. My name's Tom Schmidt, contributing editor with CIO Marketing Services. I'll be the host of this webcast. Joining me is Blair Hanley Frank, Product Marketing Manager at Glean. Hello, Blair. Tell us a little bit about your work at Glean.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, as Tom said, I'm Blair. I've been a PMM here at Glean for around about 4 years now. I joined the company when we started as an enterprise search business and have seen us grow and scale and bring the power of AI to enterprises around the globe. Super excited to be having this conversation with you.
Excellent. Also joining me is Eddie Shanahan, Senior Solutions Engineer at Glean. Welcome, Eddie. What's keeping you busy at Glean these days?
Thank you so much, Tom. Yes, my name's Eddie Shanahan, Senior Solutions Engineer at Glean. Been in the technical sales space for a long time. And what's keeping me busy right now is working day in and day out with a multitude of different companies, trying to help them with their AI strategies and initiatives.
Very good. We're going to be focusing on how using a platform and leveraging autonomous agents can help companies achieve real business value from AI. But first, Blair, can you set the stage and tell us where most organizations are today with their AI initiatives? Glean has sponsored some high-level surveys recently that paint a pretty clear picture.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the key things that we've seen is that every enterprise is really interested in adopting generative AI and leveraging the latest AI initiatives to advance their business. In particular, we've seen that most enterprises have adopted chatbots and AI assistants, but there are relatively few who are relying on intelligent agents. Now, that being said, there's a lot of interest in bringing those businesses into our agentic present and future, and make sure that they're closing down that gap from the sort of assistant-driven moment to an actual agentic enterprise. Only around about 22% of leaders, though, are saying that their AI responses that they get are reliable and grounded in enterprise context. Now, that's a significant problem because what you're dealing with here is a garbage in, garbage out situation, right? If the AI tools don't have access to the necessary enterprise context, they can't give you a good answer. And that's where we're seeing, in some stories, organizations complaining about difficulty with ROI, difficulty with getting access to the right information at the right time. Now, 65% of IT leaders are saying that they're using AI assistants or copilots, and those are simply reactive to users' requests rather than being able to take action and assist users autonomously in reaction to, for example, events within the business or even just being scheduled at a given time.
Can you break down for us the real difference between assistants and agents?
Yeah, so assistants tend to be bound by individual prompts, right? If you think about ChatGPT or another, AI solution, you go to that text box, you provide it with the prompt of what information you're looking for, and the agent will respond to that stimulus, that assistant will. Agents, on the other hand, are able to pursue goals through multi-step planning, leveraging tools, and using stateful reasoning. What that means is that they're actually able to take in information and then think about that information and work through it in a structured manner, leveraging not only their own knowledge, but also context and actions from outside that AI model to get work done.
The survey that was conducted by Foundry found that just 1/3 of enterprises have operationalized AI across multiple business units or embedded throughout their organization. Most are still in pilot or early stage deployment. So what's really holding them back?
Yeah, what we see are that security is the biggest scaling barrier, right? Organizations, large enterprises, our audience knows this deep in their heart, right? You need to make sure that whatever technology you're using is secure and protected so that you're not losing track of information within the enterprise or they aren't presenting additional risks to their business. In addition, these organizations are concerned about multi-model access, data silos, and change resistance. Those are sort of the remaining factors that we see rounding out the top four. In particular, I want to call out those last two around data silos and change resistance. Siloing data is one of the really critical issues for getting information across the enterprise. And it's something that I've seen with our customers from day one here at Glean, where the power of Glean is that we're able to connect to all of a company's information and bring all of that together in one centralized system of context. And the reason why that's so important is because users are resistant to change, right? We're already getting work done to the best of our ability using whatever tools at our disposal, even if that's not perfectly optimal, if it's not convenient, but whether it's just having a bunch of bookmarks saved or having a bunch of files strewn on your desktop, right? People are able to find information and get their work done today. And so new systems that come in have to be more performant and more helpful than the muscle memory that people already have. And unless these AI systems break down data silos and connect to all of the information that they need, users aren't going to find them useful enough to change their own status quo and change the way that they work.
So the question on everyone's mind, what does it take for organizations to scale beyond pilot programs?
I'd love to hand this off to Eddie because he's been seeing this at the front lines, and I think he has a really great perspective here.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. So, what it takes is just being willing to roll up your sleeves and learn new skills. At Glean, we are constantly helping our customers walk through this journey of their maturity curve in getting comfortable using AI tools. However, at Glean, we are working so hard to try to remove friction to make it as easy as possible to get real ROI from automation with Glean agents. I'd love to take you through 3 use cases. I think when it comes to me, being in sales, I think who wants to update Salesforce? Who wants to go through all my emails, my Slack messages to try to understand what is the status of an account? This can be really time consuming, and building an automated workflow to be able to do that can really open up a lot of strategic time that can be given back to AE's day. Then, of course, I am a hybrid role. I'm a solutions engineer. So in engineering, there's so many tasks that can benefit from automation in the engineering space. Think about every time you do a pull request, having to do a first pass review. Think about the documentation that might need updating. All of these tasks compound to help reduce the amount of time that you're spending creating differentiated capabilities for your company. And then finally, the last use case that we see a lot that I wanted to walk you through is support. So I know also in my background coming from the observability space and the APM space, so many support engineers are just logging in every day thinking about their list of cases to try to solve. And it's very difficult, very challenging to do that type of correlation. At the same time, as mean time to resolution drags on and on and on, there's real financial impact to these customers. So how do we turbocharge that? How do we leverage the power of Glean to be able to search across everything in your organization to get context on real performance issues and solve them before they cause that business impact? That's all about Glean agents. And when I talk about Glean removing friction, we are developing the capability for me in sales. Maybe I'm not too technical. If I want, I can define these workflows manually, or I can just ask Glean to build them for me dynamically using natural language. And that's exactly what I've done today.
Eddie, I'd love to see how Glean embodies those principles. What can you show us?
Absolutely. Yes, I would love to. Okay, let's start with a persona of sales. Here I built a deal assistant. And what this deal assistant is going to do is it's going to identify gaps and propose next best actions with reasons. It's also actually going to generate concise follow ups and multi threading outreach. It's going to include links to all the relevant Gong clips and documentations. And it's going to help me as an account executive generate a mutual actual plan that's tailored with personas and dates. So, this is one example of how we can use an agent in go to market to harness the power of everything in the enterprise, everything that we know about a specific customer to make it much more likely that I can progress this deal to the next stage and then also take action on my behalf. So I can just type in the name of a customer. In this case, I'm going to do Fraser Automotive, and then the Glean agents are going to kick into gear. We're leveraging the best of breed large language models. We are LLM agnostic, so we're leveraging thinking models, adaptive planning, intelligent tool selection to get the best information into this agent to make it execute as good as possible. So here we see we're kicking off Glean searches. We are the best in breed search solution. We're taking into consideration 60 different activity signals to make sure the ranking and relevancy of each one of these searches is optimal. But then also we're reading through tons of documents, Gong call transcripts. And the end result of this is I've got an overview. I have everything I need to go into my next meeting feeling empowered to move this deal to the next stage. And then, more importantly, I've got my mutual action plan, excuse me, and then it's doing automation for me so I can update Salesforce directly from this opportunity. We can take this to the next level where we can update multiple Salesforce fields at the same time. And this is just one way that as an AE, I can focus on more strategic planning of my accounts and getting them across the finish line instead of updating Salesforce. I want to walk you through a different persona. So, when it comes to software engineering, there are so many tasks that take me away from creating differentiated capabilities. And one of those is being able to create a PR brief. So, here I've created an agent in natural language that will all I have to do is give it a link to a PR, and it's going to tell me exactly what it does, the intent, any related tickets or documentations or impact areas. But then it's also going to use the power of Glean indexing all of my knowledge base articles to understand which articles need to be updated. And then it's going to go out proactively and update those for me. So think about the time saved. I mean, this could be 1 to 2 hours per engineer just for a specific PR. So all we have to do is give it a specific pull request link, and then that PR issue Sherpa is going to go through and generate all this detailed, important information that I need to know. So here are all the related tickets and documents for that PR. Here are the impact areas. Here are any risks or issues. If I'm not leveraging AI to do this, then I'm tapping on the shoulder of one of my colleagues, another engineer on my team, and I'm interrupting them from their workflow. And then here we've leveraged the power of Glean to search across all knowledge base articles to understand which documents need to be updated. And then this is doing a first pass and it's creating that comment and posting that comment here. And this is one topic that I really want to discuss because agents are not just about summarizing information. They're really about automating work. And we actually have tons of out-of-the-box actions built into our agents to turbocharge and automate business processes. This agent, this is what it looks like when you create it. It's leveraging multiple out-of-the-box actions that we have built into Glean. This is the GitHub PR diff fetcher. Then we have the comment creator. Then we have the body fetcher. So all I have to do is just, go to Glean and then ask, which action do I want to automate today? So for GitHub, we've got dozens of them, and we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of pre-built actions built into Glean. Finally, let's get to support. This is a really important persona. So many customers, tech companies, it doesn't matter. You have a support organization that needs to find the root cause of performance issues or any type of outage. So every company is a technology company these days. And what I've done, I want to show you how this is created, because this is so powerful, and this talks to Glean's value proposition in enabling these automated workflows and enabling our customers to move from assistants to agents easily. What I've done is I'm in my workflow builder for the agent, and I'm just giving it a prompt. So you can actually ask Glean to generate a good prompt for you to put into the agent builder. We call it meta prompting. So you should be using large language models to help you refine your prompts. And I'm just saying, okay, you are a support resolution and deflection assistant. Your objective is to resolve or accelerate cases with precise cited next steps and minimal handle time. Now, this description or this prompt, it's a definition, it's a specification for my agent. But with Glean, the automated workflow builder, we describe in natural language what we want the agent to be, and then it will create it for me. So this goes through the process of trying to understand my intent. What type of agent do I want? And then it's actually going to go out and build the structured workflow for me. So here, after it runs for a couple minutes, you can show the work. It's built my agent for me. And I can edit these steps, of course. Maybe it's got one too many that I don't think that it's necessary. But at a just first pass, I had it generate this, and then I ran it, and I gave it a ticket that we had in our Zendesk. And then here, within 5 minutes, I asked Glean, create the prompt for the agent. Okay, define the agent. Now here's a ticket, help me out, right? And here we've got a triage classification. We're talking about exactly what the feature request is and what the problem might be. We've got recommended resolution next steps, minimal clarifying questions. And the difference between this and, let's say, using a assistant is that this can be prescriptive. Each one of these steps can have its own unique prompt. If you want a more deterministic output, that's where Glean agents can really shine. And when you want to automate work and really get a lot of return on investment, this is where that automation really pays dividends. And of course, it's given me a Slack-ready DM that I can use to reach out to my customer. But this is just a taste of what's possible in Glean. Of course, this was done very quickly. If you want to spend time creating agents, you can really make huge changes for your organization. And to that, we'll talk about one of our reference customers.
Thank you, Eddie. Very, very impressive demos. Blair, let's talk best practices. What does a rollout playbook look like for AI?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things, before I jump into talking about playbooks, one of the things I just wanted to highlight is that Eddie makes this look really great and really smooth. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this is running in our production instance today. There's no demo magic up our sleeves. This is literally what people at Glean are using every day to get work done. And this is the sort of experience that customers can expect as well. Now, on to what rollout playbooks look like. The number one thing is that we want to look for functions with clearer ROI, right? When we interviewed IT leaders a couple of years ago about their experience with AI ROI, one of the things that they highlighted was that actually there's a significant amount of work that they're doing where the vibes are good, but they don't have concrete metrics. And so what we've found is that in order for them to see like demonstrable benefits, it's better to start with functions like IT support, customer support, and supply chain. These are going to deliver you concrete wins that are actually measurable and a key part of your business. And one of the things that came out of our Foundry study was that it showed that some departments are also easier than others to show that ROI. In particular, IT support ranked the highest in terms of realized ROI amongst mature adopters. And then those other three, supply chain, operations, and customer support, also showed strong benefits. As a part of evaluating all of that, it's really key to pick clear success metrics, right? Things like productivity and what time you're saving. Cost avoidance, potentially, customer satisfaction, decision speed, adoption of these tools as well is another critical component where you need to actually, in order for you to see ROI from these AI tools, people need to start using them. And actually going into a rollout with these sorts of strong ideas and a desire for data collection is going to make things way easier for you on the back end when you're trying to figure out how something has gone. Because otherwise, what you're left with is potentially a situation where there are multiple stakeholders all trying to make decisions about how an organization is using AI. Everybody comes into these meetings with their own specific points of view about what they would like to see from these systems, how that adoption is going as well. And so if you come in with a really strong framework, then it's actually possible to come out with a strong decision rather than people arguing over like, well, this seems like it's, like it was working okay, but there was one time I asked it a question about this project and it didn't work. So therefore, we shouldn't use the entire thing. Those are the sorts of questions that we have absolutely seen pop up. Mm-hmm. And having this really strong grounding in metrics and ROI is incredibly helpful for keeping everything on track.
Very good. The Foundry audience loves to hear about success stories. What can you share with us?
So one of our customers, which is a large social media company, they used Glean to create this InfoSec agent, which is designed to automate the threat modeling process and suggest solutions to mitigate the risks that they've identified. Right. What this means is that it's actually enabled InfoSec architects to build threat models in a day rather than what they previously had to deal with, which was an average of around about 6 weeks per model, right? That's a 97% increase in the speed of model creation. And for our customer, what that meant was that they were saving up to $100,000 per critical issue that they've caught in the design phase with these threat models. So, and in addition to that, they've also saved up to $300,000 on third-party modeling software that they're now able to replace with this agent that they've created that's powered by Glean. In addition to that, we also have another customer story from the Koozie group. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the little koozies that you can have to keep your drinks insulated. They recently spoke at one of our webinars focusing on how AI can help boost your sales pipeline. And what they built was a research agent that reviews all of the knowledge available on their accounts, and that allows sales reps to enter sales meetings with comprehensive briefs that provide full context. What this means is that you're not relying on individual reps to produce individual briefs for themselves, which usually used to take them around about 45 minutes for preparation, and they've now cut that down to 5 minutes of prep time. And they're still able to get really comprehensive, really excellent points of view. And what that means is that this extra time has actually allowed their sales team to spend more time in the field selling more products, and that's driven a 20% increase in pipeline for them.
Great examples, Blair. Thank you. Our time is almost up. What are the key takeaways you'd like our audience to draw from our conversation? Blair?
Yeah, I think, I'll start from the end here and really continue to highlight on and hammer ROI, where, the key thing here is to understand where agents have the potential to drive really significant impacts for your business, go into pilots and into implementations with your eyes open, with clear success metrics in mind, and leverage that to really make intelligent and informed decisions about what AI tools make sense for you. And the second piece that I will also point to is indicating what the future is, right? I get to be the product marketing manager for Glean agents, and I feel really lucky to be at the cutting edge of what enterprise AI looks like. In particular, it's really important for businesses today to start working with and implementing agents. What we've seen is that there are really key roadblocks that need to be overcome around data silos, security, and employee transformation. A key thing that I talk about internally is the fact that we need to win hearts and minds and change workflows in order for these tools to be effective. And so for companies today, the number one piece of advice that I would have is don't wait, right? Don't wait for your competitors to start making these moves. Don't wait for new startups to start making these moves to try and disrupt your industry, but actually evaluate these tools, implement them, and start driving change.
Great advice. Eddie, you have the last word.
Yeah, I will say that when the rubber meets the road, there's really no one that can do what Glean can do, just simply put. When it comes to leveraging AI, context is so vitally important. We've all been experimenting with different LLMs ever since the release of ChatGPT. So we're getting comfortable with some of their strengths, but then also some of the shortcomings, and they're always improving all the time. But it is so important to provide the right context within the context window to those LLMs so you have a positive output. That doesn't matter whether you're using an assistant or an agent. So having accurate search results, which, Arvind, the founder of Glean, is the search guru. Having relevant, recent top search results that are grounded in your enterprise context and feeding that context to your LLM means that any one of these agents are actually going to do something that's meaningful, that's not going to cause more work than it saves.
Very good. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's webcast. I want to give a big thanks to our speakers, Blair, Hanley, Frank, and Eddie Shanahan of Glean, for sharing their insights and expertise with us today. Thanks especially to you, our viewers, for tuning in. Please be sure to check out the resource list for some valuable Glean information to download. For Glean and CIO.com, I'm Tom Schmidt.